Okay. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Friday edition of Morning Scone presented by BROC, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. In North Beach, go to BROC. PARISH, construction and roofing. Oh. I think today is the day that I don't want to spoil it, but I think today is the day that the interstate sign is going up at our new office. So suffice to say, if you're driving down I-10 around Highland Road, heretofore, this will be impossible to miss. See if I can share this with y'all. I'm going to share it with y'all just because. Anyway, a Unique Physique, uniquephysique.com. And yes, there it is. Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. All right, y'all, we'll get into it. I should have done this in advance. My apologies. I don't mean to bore you with this, but I'm trying to show you all the sign. Y'all gonna see it soon enough anyway. What's a sneak peek? Anyway. Okay, how about it, y'all? LSU lands 4-star safety CJ Jimcoily was expected. Came down to LSU and Stanford. Apparently, as Shay Dixon told us, CJ's mom wanted CJ to go to Stanford, academics, all that stuff. So she wanted to see the academics at LSU naturally. And then, but his dad, who's from New Orleans, really wanted him to go to LSU, which obviously makes a lot of sense. Frank Wilson was a huge part of whatever. Okay, I may not be able to show you all this. Anyway, Frank Wilson was a huge part of the recruitment, being obviously from New Orleans, and actually CJ Jimcoily's dad went to O. Perry Walker when Frank Wilson was the coach there. So great connection there. Shows just how familial recruiting can be, how relational it is, and really, really big get. You know, an elite safety from Nashville. So you beat out Tennessee. There's some Tennessee fans going, "Oh, Tennessee wasn't really recruiting him." Yeah, because he wasn't interested. Like they offered, he was a 4-star in-state safety. They offered him. Everybody wanted him, and he wasn't interested. So yeah, LSU beat Tennessee for him, and Alabama, and a whole bunch of A&M and Miami, and a whole bunch of other schools. So big get. Tigers had the day off yesterday. It was a recovery day on Thursday. Friday, they do practice Friday morning, but no media availability. So we will not be there today. We do have access Saturday morning for practice. So plan accordingly. Morning Scone. Practice availabilities at 9:45. So maybe a little earlier on Morning Scone tomorrow to get it done, and then get out to practice. And then Blake Baker meets with reporters after practice. So I will, of course, have weekend content for you, bonus content as it's called on Locked On, but plan accordingly for Morning Scone on Saturday. Okay, let's say some good mornings. You know the drill. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post, and all that good stuff. Got links for all of our sponsors in the description on YouTube: BROC, PARISH, Unique Physique, and Restored Motions. Remember Unique Physique, that's semaglutide, tirzepatide, the once-a-week injections to help with weight loss. Everyone knows someone who's on it, done it, tried it. If you're interested, you want to learn more, you can do the whole thing over telemed, so you don't even have to go in the office, and they can ship anywhere in the country. So even if you're watching outside of Baton Rouge or outside of Louisiana, you can still call Unique Physique. So uniquephysique.com, uniquephysique.com. All the other links are pinned there in the chat, or pinned in the description on YouTube. And on Facebook, I'll make sure all of the sponsors' pages are linked in the description. Okay, Ricky Lambert, good morning. Tim Gotro, Trivia Carter, not first today, trivia. Good morning. Brian Wynn, what's going on? Hey, Charlie, good morning. Hope you're doing great. Jaleel Dean, morning, Matt. I know we're a few weeks away, but can you still see LSU landing Jonah? So Jonah, of course, is Jonah Williams, 5-star number 1 safety in America, who's also being recruited for baseball. I'm going to continue to say this, y'all. My real question on Jonah Williams is whether or not he ever actually shows up on campus and plays in college, because he is that kind of elite baseball prospect where, I mean, he is Connor Griffin. I mean, 9th overall pick. I mean, he's that type of guy. Center fielder, can run like the wind, big guy, elite power. I mean, 5-tool guy. I mean, he's a top half of round 1 guy. He's a 6, 7, 8, $9 million signing bonus guy. So what happens next summer when the MLB draft rolls around? Does he pass on that money to go to school? I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know the kid, but I do know he's that type of prospect. I do know if Jay Johnson is joining the recruiting efforts, and the kid wants to play both, then yeah, I think he'll pick LSU. Apparently, it's always come down to an LSU A&M deal. New baseball coach over at A&M and Michael Early. New football coach at A&M in Mike Elko. So you got certainly more stability at LSU. LSU's won championships in football and baseball recently. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, I don't have any inside information as far as, Jaleel, as far as what Jonah Williams is planning to do. And everyone that covers recruiting says this is one of those where he's kept it really close to the vest. He's not leaking out what he's thinking. But yeah, I mean, if you're LSU, how are you not in the mix? I mean, the only potential way is if A&M has some kind of like insane NIL offer, which they could. That just may, I mean, that's like Braden Montgomery. I mean, Braden Montgomery was leaving Stanford. He was going to play with his buddies at Mississippi State, kid from Mississippi. And then A&M came in and gave him $750,000, and he spent last year at A&M. I mean, I don't blame him one bit. So, we'll see. Cliff Nelson, good morning. 1R in Parish. Hey, it matters, Cliff, because if you go to Google and you type in Parish, well, it's parishbuilt.com, but you throw up 2 R's, not gonna come up. One R. Tara Walker, what's going on? By the way, Cliff, every time I do a video and I use the captions app, I don't know if you'll know what the captions app is. So like if you ever look at like at Reels or something like that, and so you'll see the captions, they're like, it's fun fonts and different stuff like that. That's an app called Captions. Naturally, it puts captions on. You could change font design and all that sort of stuff. Every time the Captions app translates one of my videos, it always has 2 R, so I always have to go correct it. So 1 R in Parish, parishbuilt.com. I probably should start saying that too, by the way. Like in my live reads and stuff, I probably should start saying 1 R. We got 1 Hour Air coming out today. As a matter of fact, shout out 1 Hour Air. They were here last night at like 7 o'clock. Our AC in our bedroom was out last night. That unit's, we're about to give it the burial. Let's see. Unfortunately, your boy's got a big expense coming to buy a new AC unit. Anyway, but 1 Hour Air is the best. I mean, father-in-law was here. We had a meeting at St. Lillian last night. So right after AFR, went straight over to St. Lillian. And father-in-law, my in-laws had Drew, and father-in-law called me, was like, "Hey, your AC in your room's out." Like, so I called 1 Hour Air. They were here last night. Shout out to Harley, who was here last night until 8:30. Got us back running last night, but it's the units. It's only a matter of time. So they're coming back today. Do a site check. My buddy Bobby from River City's 1 Hour Air will be here in a little bit, and they'll never recommend a new unit install without a field supervisor coming and double checking. So that's what's happening today. So he's going to be here any minute. So when I get up, that's what in a minute. That's why he's going to knock on the door. But I'm not ending the show. I'm just telling you. Let's see. Damon Gilmore, good morning. Randall Offlax, good morning. Chase Young is dominating Trevor Penning in camp. Dennis Allen didn't sound pleased. Do you think he makes the team? Do I think Trevor Penning makes the team? Absolutely. He's a first-round pick in year 2. He's going to make the team. But it may be a thing where he is either, if he doesn't win the starting right tackle job, do you kick him inside and play him at left guard? I mean, Lucas Patrick is there right now. You could at least have Penning compete for that job. And if not, then he just becomes sort of your 6th offensive lineman, the tackle eligible, which sucks for a first-round pick. You expected so much more from him. But yeah, yesterday, by all accounts, was not a great day for Trevor Penning. Chase Young really apparently dominated him yesterday. So not super awesome to hear. Club Ruckus, good morning. Happy Friday. Super stoked. Going to Texas Club tonight. See Cowboy Mouth. Was pumped on that interview you had with Fred and John yesterday. That's awesome, man. I am sad to say I'm going to miss the show tonight because tomorrow I have a going to a memorial service for a friend's father, and then Sunday I'll be in New Orleans with Gramps all day. So I couldn't be away from Eric and Drew the entire weekend, so something had to give. So I'm not going to be able to make Cowboy Mouth tonight, but that was so much fun to be able to talk to those guys yesterday. They were great. Taro, does this commit affect current use to commit Bradford? So talking about Jacob Bradford, and I would say no, Taro. Here's why. I think what we're about, and this is a guess, by the way. I'm just sort of reading tea leaves and giving an educated guess. Remember, starting next season, college football rosters are expanding to 105. So you have 20 more scholarship roster spots. So maybe in years past, Jacob Bradford, who's, by the way, is a 4-star safety from Catholic High in Baton Rouge. He's like the number 10 or 11 best player in the state for this year. Like, he's a really good prospect. And he just got his LSU offer. I mean, he's not his brother, who's a 5-star for the next class. So Blaine is a junior, Jacob is a senior, but they're both great players. And Jacob could play corner or safety, by the way. But in one of if you were 85 scholarship with a 25 hard cap, maybe that's a borderline guy. And you see what happens with some of the safeties you're recruiting. Well, now that you have a 105-man scholarship roster for 2025, there's guys who maybe, I've told you examples before, guys like Lloyd Cushenberry or Foster Morrow, guys who were waiting on signing day to see if the numbers were going to work. Now you can offer those in-state kids. And I think that's the example with Bradford. He's right there with Jacob Bradford. He's one of those borderline guys, right? I mean, if the numbers worked, you'd probably have a spot for him. In the past, now you absolutely have a spot for him. So I don't think it affects him. No. Jaleel got my plane tickets and hotel room for Vegas. Let's go. We'll be there, man. We'll be so I'm staying at Aria, but we'll be doing shows at MGM Sportsbook in Mandalay Bay. So Mandalay Bay is where our shows will be in the sportsbook there. Tiger Diver, are you ready to make your prediction for football? Not yet. No, not yet. Not yet. One day of full pats, not yet. Jason Horn, good morning. Brian Turner, shout out OP Walker. Dad went there. There you go. 504, shout out. Brad David, good morning. Will the offense be more ball control this year or be the same as last year? Well, it's definitely not going to be the same as last year because you're not going to have a quarterback that runs for 1,100 yards. But I want to remind you, you can look at all the wow stats that Jaden Daniels had a year ago, but I'll remind you that if you're thinking ball control, I mean, now LSU was explosive and they scored quickly, but LSU ran the ball last year 430 times and they threw the ball 411 times. They were a balanced offense last year. They had big playability, so they could score quickly, but they ran the ball just as much as they actually ran the ball more than they threw it. They threw it 411, they ran it 430. But that's on the season when you play 13 games and you run 841 offensive snaps, like, to be that balanced is pretty impressive. Like, you clearly have a balanced structure in your offensive system. Hey, Rocky, good morning. Do you think we would have had a better performance against FSU last year had our offense been practicing against a better, more competitive defense? No, Rocky, the offense wasn't the problem against FSU last year. That's something people forget. I mean, Tigers went right down the field on the first drive, and it was a one-possession ball game at the end of the third quarter. And if you remember, man, Jaden threw a ball that was dropped over the middle and then threw another one down the left sideline that was dropped. And the next play was, or I'm sorry, it wasn't dropped. It was when the receiver fell down. It was intercepted. I mean, LSU scores there. You're tied at the beginning of the fourth quarter. But that interception, Florida State scored, and it turned, completely flipped the game. I mean, it wasn't a great game by LSU, of course, but people forget, like, how close that was in the fourth quarter. LSU had the ball, down a score, and had a drop pass over the middle, and then an interception when the receiver fell down. Was it Malik? I can't remember if it was Malik or Brian Thomas. Fell down on the left sideline around the 10-yard line. You catch the ball at the 10-yard line, you're in a goal-to-go situation to tie the game at the beginning of the fourth quarter. It was just the defense was atrocious. Sorry, read that one. Brett, good morning. Alex, morning, Matt. Haven't been on here in a while. Any news on y'all going to Vegas? Me and the Pops are driving. Yeah, Alex, we'll be there, man. Welcome back. We'll be there. So our crew, our 104.5 ESPN crew, me, Hester T-Bob, are flying out from Baton Rouge with Jason Ramazan's group, Mr. Fun's Travel. Sold out, by the way. I told you I was going to sell out. On Thursday night. So we'll do shows Friday in Vegas. We'll have Saturday to play and watch games. And then Sunday will be Eagle game day, pregame, postgame, and of course, whiskey and wine from Vegas. Brian Wynn, great comeback for men's basketball. Yeah, man. If y'all weren't watching or listening to AFR yesterday in hour one, that game against Serbia was on as we were in hour one. And I'm not a big Olympics guy, y'all. Like, I don't really lock in. Of course, I want the USA to win and everything. And it's usually Erica will have it on at night and all, but I'm not like super I can't tell you all the storylines. I don't watch any of those sports any other time than the Olympics. So it's hard for me to really engage other than just to cheer for the USA. But of course, I know basketball, I know all those players, and then the game was on, and I'm watching the US down 17 to Serbia, and then down 11 with like 7 minutes to go. And to watch the rally and the comeback was really cool. I mean, they made the plays late when they needed to. Steph Curry had 36 points. LeBron had a triple-double. It was a lot of fun to watch it live on air. And sort of react to it live was fun. Hey, Matt, good morning. You mentioned Locked On about when your dad took you to Houston for the Astros game. My grandpa did the same. Thank you for watching and listening to Matt, by the way. He saw Will Clark before a game, got his autograph, was snippy about it. That's Will. I'm not surprised about that. Will's great, though, man. What a great player. Who's my brother's favorite player? My brother wore 22 in all of our youth league baseball teams. My brother wore 22 for Will Clark. And I was a left-handed hitter, so I did try to mimic Will Clark's stance and swing. The right foot a little bit forward, sort of straight leg, then a little bit of a lean. But yeah, man. So I told a story about how I remember it had to be 1989 or 90. Me, my dad, my papa, and my brother Brian, we all drove to Houston, watched the Cubs play the Astros in the Astrodome. I got a picture of that somewhere. It's a papa, me, and Brian. I guess my dad took the picture, but it's papa, me, and Brian sitting in our seats. Big tub of popcorn. HD Williams, Gumhagen, go Tigers, hurry up football. Cliff, good morning. Let's see. Just curious. I know schools like Vanderbilt and Stanford are great academic schools. In my opinion, education is what you make it. Where's LSU ranked academically? Is it a selling point or a detriment? No, that's a good question, Cliff. I think it really depends on what school specifically you're talking about. Like, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a personal example. So the Manship School, which is the Mass Comm School, is one of the oldest accredited journalism schools in the country. And it is a very well-respected J school. At the top of the list, places like Stanford, North Carolina, Northwestern, Missouri, not Stanford, Syracuse, North Carolina, Northwestern, Missouri. Those are the ones that always kind of get all the pub. But look around, look at all the LSU alums that are national reporters and personalities. I mean, the Manship School has pumped a ton of talent because it's a great school. So I think it really depends on what you want to do. I know when I was in school there, it was when Emmerich was the chancellor. One of his big initiatives was like this flagship agenda, he called it, and it was about getting LSU further down the list on the top party schools and up the list on the academic schools, and it worked. I mean, it's not perfect by any stretch. I mean, there's schools with enormous endowments and things like that, but there are places, or I should say schools within LSU, different colleges that are elite. Yeah. Matt, Will Clark lived in our neighborhood. Grandpa wasn't happy with his reaction. He told him it was for me. Damn Jesuit grad. Cliff, that'll do it, Cliff. That's what it is, man. Messenger and all the different apps, they spell Paris with 2 R's, but 1 R. Rocky, E-Rock's graphics, Rock. She's trying to, so thanks to everybody who's maybe seeing for the first time with the new border and graphics. So Erica did all that. But one of the things, if you see, the video, we should be framed fully inside that yellow. You shouldn't see the green on the bottom or the blue on the top. And so she's going to adjust it a little bit to make sure that this all fits. But anyway, yeah, it looks great. Eric, morning, Scone. Your segment on Frank Wilson got me thinking. If you took over for BK now, what's the order of coaches on staff you'd call to retain? Oh, that's a good question. Frank would be number one. Brad Davis, Corey Raymond would be right there. And I'd probably go Bo Davis next. Joe Sloan, Blake Baker, Cortez Hankton. Then the new guy, Kevin Peoples and Jake Olson. I think I got everybody. Oh, and then Slade Nagel. I don't mean to make anybody last on the list. I mean, I think they have a great staff. Like, I legit think that Brian Kelly has now assembled one of the best staffs in America. The offensive staff was already phenomenal. I mean, Cortez Hankton look at what he's done with the receiver room. I mean, there's just never a drop-off despite who they lose. Brad Davis has obviously built an incredible offensive line room. Joe Sloan, quarterback's coach, new OC. I mean, the offensive staff was great. I don't think anybody denies that. They had to remake the defensive staff, and they've done it at a super elite level. All right. Please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel. Facebook, like the page, share the post, all that. We appreciate y'all for being there with us. All the sponsors right here. We appreciate them greatly. The links for everyone are in the description on YouTube. So thanks for supporting all of the people that support us. Brian, good morning from Indy. 22 days to the start of Natty Run. I can dream, can I? Hey, Brian, listen, man. I'm not predicting LSU to win a national championship. I think the offense is still going to be really good. I think the defense has improved. How much, don't know. But the one thing we don't know, Brian, is like, how does a 22 I was looking at 22 days. How does a 12-team playoff manifest? Right? So, like, what if over the course of 12 games, LSU gets dramatically better and Nuss is playing at a Heisman level, but you're a 2-loss team and you get in as the number 11 seed? I mean, could you go win a road playoff game against a 5 seed, call it Ole Miss, or let's say Oregon? Like, how about that? I mean, what if Ohio State wins the Big Ten, Oregon's the 5 seed and hosts an opening? Well, no, if they're the 5, then they would play the 12, which would be a G5. So you'd be probably like, I don't know how it would play out. But no, call it Notre Dame. What if Notre Dame's the 6, LSU's the 11, and you go to South Bend to play a game in December? That would be phenomenal. Cajun Country, what's up with Trevor Penning? Did anger management get to him? I remember him talking about physically assaulting people. Now it's like he can't kill an ant. No, he was fighting at practice yesterday too, Cajun Country. So, like, he's a big physical dude, man. He just can't pass block. He just can't pass block in space at this level. Randy, do you know if LSU's using the VR technology for the QBs like last year? They have that simulator room in football ops, if that's what you're talking about. Leon, good morning, Scone. Loving to see Chase Young dominate even at Penning's expense. Penning will be better for it, but he's got to step up. I don't know, honestly, man. I don't know if Penning's going to be better for it. He just might not be good enough to be a tackle in the NFL. I think he's physical, strong. I think he could be an interior player. Like, think Andrews Pete. I mean, you drafted Andrews Pete with an eye on him being your starting right tackle. Played left tackle in college. You wanted to be your starting right tackle. It didn't work out. He became a guard. And he became a good player. Not a great player, but he became a starting player for you. But that may be Trevor Penning's path. He may just have to kick inside and be a guard. And if that's what he is, okay. You used a first-round pick on Cesar Ruiz, who's a guard. I mean, should be a center, but Eric McCoy's been a really good center for you. You weren't moving him, but you get it. So, I mean, that just may be the path for Trevor Penning. Tommy Poole, who's impressed you most so far in the defensive front? I think, I don't know if this counts, Tommy. Just checking to see when River City's 1 hour air is here. It's different because, so, like, when my desk used to be back there, I could see out my window. Now the window's behind me, and so I can't see out of it. So I kind of have to scoot back to see. Anyway, but I choose this vantage point so you all get to see. So the view in the office is better than, like, if I turned it and you all were just looking at the back of a wall. Anyway, most impressed in the defensive front. You're probably asking about tackle, but I think LSU is going to be good at defensive end. Not like good by comparison. Like, I think they're going to be good. Savion Jones is massive. They have him listed right now at 6'6", 280, and he's every bit of that. He is a big defensive end that's going to give a lot of people trouble. Braden Swinton is your best defensive end edge rusher. He's not even practicing right now, right? I mean, he's not back until Monday. So you've been seeing PARISH Shand get those reps in the meantime, and Shand, 6'4", 275, who's in his 5th year coming over from Arizona. Young guys like Relaford and Kalaj Cobbins, Deshaun Womack. Like, I'm not saying you're good just by comparison to what you were. I think you're good. I think you have good defensive ends. But I think you're probably asking about defensive tackle. And, I think Jacoby and Guillory looks really strong. I worry about whenever we watch them do pass rush drills, it's just my observation. He uses a bull rush a lot. And I wonder if he's going to be able to get off the blocks or just try to push the pocket. That may be what they're asking him to do. Again, that's one of the things where we don't know. We don't know like what they want him to do. But I think it may not be a thing with tackle where you have anybody that's all SEC, but you may use Guillory, Paez, Jalen Lee, Sean Washington. I don't know how much we see of Don McKinley. JVR Suggs, 5 or 6 defensive tackles rotating. And if you have that many bodies, you can stay fresh, and that might make you look better than maybe you are just because you don't have like 2 guys like Texas had last year on the defensive line that were first-round picks, or one was a first-round pick and one was a second-round pick. Yeah, with what was it? Sweat and Trevante Sweat and who was the other guy? You know what I'm talking about. All right, smash the like button if you would on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Facebook, like the page, share the post. Jeff, what's going on, man? Good morning. Michael, any news from camp on Dylan Carpenter? Looking like Bosa, just because he's a white defensive end. He looks nothing like either of the Bosas, bro. The Bosas look like action figures, man. That Dylan Carpenter's a freshman. He does not look like either of the Bosas, other than he's a white defensive end. I'm not trying to be combative, dude, but like, come on, but let's not get crazy there. He hasn't stood out. I can't tell you. I mean, the freshmen that are standing out at that position are Gabe Relaford and Kalaj Cobbins. They both look awesome so far. Kalaj Cobbins is going to be a nightmare. Mark my words. Kalaj Cobbins is going to be a guy that before his career is over, I don't know if it's this year, but he will be a terror off the edge. He is going to be a really good player, and Relaford too. Abner Neal, good morning. Leon, I heard Davenport's looking good for the Lions. Injuries hampered him as well. I know he hopes he gets it together. Talented dudes. I was talking about LSU guys. I'm like, the Lions. Marcus Davenport. Okay. Brian Broom, good morning. Cliff, hoping the running game this year is more than inside zone. Well, it's got to be more versatile than it was. But I'm curious to see which backs end up being, like how they end up distributing the running back reps. Hey, Kelly Gross, good morning. Wendell Norman, good morning. Mark Allen, if you don't know who Pete Sampras is, you can kick rocks. It's a Musso reference. And Taylor Sharp. Brandon, good morning. DJ's visiting Florida. Can Corey keep him in the boot? Yes. Brian Pent, Matt, see Josh Smith walk off against the Astros. I did. That was a couple days ago, but that was awesome, man. 10th inning. Nice little bat flip as well. Craig, been busy with work lately. Haven't been listening as much as I'd like to. Have you talked about wide receivers yet? What about the age of the coaching staff? Has Dwayne called for a 10-2, 10-2, 10-2 bet yet? Dwayne is no longer allowed to call ever again until he pays me the $500 he owes me. Age of the coaching staff, not sure what you're referring to there, Craig, but the wide receivers I feel like we talk about every day. As a matter of fact, had Eddie Kennison on AFR yesterday. And We talked wide receivers with Eddie, and remember, Eddie, who of course was a great former Tiger, first round pick of the NFL, was on staff as director of player personnel development under Ogeron 3-4 years ago. That's the last year for Ogeron. And Eddie Kennison raved about Chris Hilton, said like that's his pick to be the next great one. And I'm telling you, Chris Hilton looks awesome. He's battled some injuries at LSU, but if you go back and not that you have any time or tolerance to do this, but if you would listen to any of my practice reports from last year, Chris Hilton was flashing last year. It was very obvious if they needed Chris Hilton to be a 50 target guy last year, he could have been that. But you had Nabers and Thomas and Lacey ahead of him. So it was just one of those things where he was buried on the depth chart. But yes, I do think Chris Hilton is poised for a really, really good year. Rocky, anyone see Malik Nabers literally take on the entire Detroit Lions defense in practice? Yes, I did. And I was talking to I was doing a call yesterday with some of the higher ups at Locked On. And one of them, Allie, is a Giants fan. So we were talking about Malik. And I told her, I was like, hey, like we were talking about that fight you're talking about. I said, that's Malik. He is the definition of an alpha. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've told this before, but like when we would watch them run team drills, Malik would like catch a ball over a DB would fall, they'd hand fight forward to get it. And like he would stand over them, like straddle, stand over, yelling, like dog cussing you. I mean, his teammate who he beat in practice. Like, yeah, I mean, that's like Malik is everything athletically, physically that Odell is. What I told her because she's a Giants fan. It's like that Odell was. You're just not going to get him proposing to a kicking net. You know what I mean? He's going to be awesome. Got to get someone to throw him the ball. Hunter Broadhead, good morning. Dale Broussard just jumped on late. What did I miss? Everything, Dale. Brian, let's see. Okay. Pickett denied visit rumors. Mike, good morning. By the way, the Pickett thing, like, I think we also went through, I told you, the NIL deal LSU has in place for Pickett, the relationship he's got with Corey. I would be just stunned if Pickett didn't, if something happened there. I'd be stunned. Mike, good morning. If an injury happens to Carr, who do you think takes over? What would the season expectations be? Yeah, that's a good question. It's one of the reasons I'm really excited to see the preseason games, because we can talk all we want about how the quarterbacks are playing in practice, but until you go see it in a game scenario, it's impossible to know. My guess would be Jake Haener. He's been around a year longer. He's impressed in training camp. I think Haener would be the guy if they had to put a backup out there today. And I don't know that the season expectations change dramatically. I just don't know. Like, I don't believe this is a playoff team either way. And but I'm very interested to watch these guys play the preseason, because it's not to say if you go ball out in the preseason that you're going to be a great Sunday quarterback, but it is to say if you can't perform in the preseason, then you certainly aren't going to be able to do it in the regular season. Brad, why do you think Frank Wilson didn't work out at UTSA? Frank had some success at UTSA. I think it's hard to recruit there, and it's just a hard job to win. Let me see. Frank went. Yeah, I mean, the first year he was there, they made to. He took over a bad program. And they went to a bowl game the first year. They went 6-6, but lost the bowl game. The next year they went 6-5, then 3-9, 4-8, and then he went to McNeese. Spent 2 seasons at McNeese, and then ended up at LSU on staff, which is where he needs to be, man. Dalton. Morning, Matty. Been a minute since I caught a live Scone. Hope all is well. We're great, man. Thank you, Dalton. Appreciate you for being there, man. Craig, let's see. Matt, got one of those ads for a T-shirt. It's car in a car with the caption, "Get in, loser. We're going to the Super Bowl." Should have put you down for one. No. Not human. Okay. There we go. Oh. Hang on one second. River City's 1 hour errors here. I'm not ending the stream. Don't go away. Yeah. I'm sure we go a rush from change. You tell me. You need to look at it there. Yeah. Really. Yeah. Actually, oh, you don't obviously show it's in here. Drew's still sleeping, but it's no big deal. Like they show it. Right. Okay. They're the best, y'all. That's Bobby Sibley. If you call River City's 1 hour air, you can request Bobby. He's phenomenal. Let's see. Craig sent it to the text line, very high quality. Oh, well, let me check that out, Craig. There we go, Craig. Oh, there it is. So, Craig, thank you for the offer. Probably just going to go ahead and pass on that one, though. Actually, that might be a great keepsake. I would never wear it, but I think it would be a great keepsake. Yeah, put me down for one, Craig. $20. I'm an XL. Yeah, put me down for one, Craig. Give me one. UVC radiation, along with A and B, are here for you. Able to. Okay. Dalton, with the Emery and Alexander basically back full go, any other injuries that'll carry over to fall? By the way, so Emery for sure. Zy Alexander is still running with the threes, and they said he's completely cleared, but maybe he's just got to get a little more comfortable. But he's made some plays out there too. Other injuries? No, man. Xavier Thomas has that hamstring. But it's not very significant. And they've been, I remember Brian Kelly's first press conference of the season for 2022, right? So the how they have the Monday press conferences before the game. So this would have been the Monday before Florida State in 22. Brian Kelly, the game in the Superdome. They went through that entire fall camp without a significant injury. I mean, really nothing to speak of. And I asked him that question, like, this is kind of unheard of that you don't have like anything. And, what do you attribute it to? And he talked about, the training staff and all the stuff that, he gave the answer. Then, of course, Mason Smith tore his ACL in the first defensive series. But anyway, all that to say, like, they have been, same last year, like, they've been really healthy. And I think a big part of it is just the way they structure things. The climatization period, ramping up their time outside, giving them recovery days like they did yesterday. Recovery day isn't just a day off. It's a recovery day where they go into the new recovery center that they built. That's got, all the hyperbaric chambers and all the everything to get your body to recover faster. I mean, I think, that's a big part of it, man. I think like the way that I think that the training staff is elite and the way that they plan for recovery and things have been a big part of their success. Brett Taylor, good morning. Steve Menard, what's going on, Steve? Seems like we're not talking about quarterbacks as compared to other position groups. Should we as fans take that as a good sign? I assume you're talking about LSU. And yeah, because you've got your guy in Garrett Nussmeier. Like, there's no question who the starter is. So I think I am interested in how Ricky Collins and AJ Swan are doing for the backup job. And I can't tell you that through the 5 or 6 practices we've gotten to see that I've noticed any real separation between the two. But but yeah, I mean, we're not talking about because you know your starter is. Tyler Clark, 64 Analytics, has LSU baseball at the #1 portal class. Go Tigers. Taylor Hudson, good morning. All right, prokaryotic. Where did the eukaryotic cell come from? Not really sure, man. I wasn't very good at science. Charlie Cavell, speaking of Frank Wilson, it'll be a fun and special night for Frank when Nichols visits Tiger Stadium. Colonels are the only state school not to have played LSU. Let's see. Yeah, I hope they that's true, Charlie, but I hope as we move throughout the this new era of college football that those games go the way of the dodo bird. Nobody wants to see it. And I don't want to see it. I want to waste my time watching LSU play Nichols. So I want to waste my time watching LSU play ULM or ULL or Tech or McNeese or anybody. Like, I want to see 10, 11, or 12 games that we all want to see, that are all important and exciting. I don't ever want to see the garbage, cupcake, body bag, money games ever again. And hopefully we're moving closer to that. Judo 4% chance UCLA is a night game. Really good. I'll ask around up there to see if they've gotten any feedback from the SEC office. But I think the way we have framed our thought about I think the way we framed our thought about game times is, the best game is going to be at 2:30 because that's when CBS, that was their window, and CBS paid a lot for that to have the first choice, but their window is 2:30. It's not like that anymore. ESPN has the entire contract, so ESPN can put its best games in prime time. It can put it. I mean, it can do whatever it wants. I mean, it can put LSU in prime time every time if they want. But sometimes it could be ABC, maybe it could be ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, SEC Network. I mean, you can put them anywhere. But they can put them in prime time every time if they want. So I think working, the league, working with the networks and all the schools to try to make sure that their sort of traditions and preferences are honored as best they can. Yeah, man, I think there's a really good chance LSU plays all its home games at night. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but there's a really good chance that happens because it's a different structure now. It's not like, LSU, Ole Miss, if they're both undefeated and College Game Day's there, why wouldn't that'll be the 2:30 game? Well, no, CBS would have picked that for 2:30 because that was their window and they had first pick, and that would have been the best game. ESPN has all of them now, so they don't have to put that at 2:30. They can put it at 7:00 on ABC if they want. You know what I mean? Lily's Toy Chest, good morning. Cajun Country. Hey, man. I don't think he really wanted an answer. I think that's just the guy trolling. I was just more ignoring him. Drew, will Scone team make a return this football season? That's the plan, Drew, and we're working on potential locations to bring it back on site. We've had a few people interested. We're just trying to push it across the finish line. But yes, there is a plan to do that. Let's see. Charlie, I agree with you. Nichols was supposed to play at LSU in 2020. I'd rather see 10 SEC games, 2 non-conference games like UCLA, USC every year. Better value for season ticket holders. It's just better for the sport, man, as a whole. But the reality is, for those that argue against an expanded playoff, it's too many games. Okay. Then do away with the garbage body bag. Take Nichols and South Alabama off of LSU schedule this year. Play 10 games. Got 8 SEC games, USC, UCLA, 10-game schedule. Then build out a playoff. But they won't do that. because South Alabama and Nichols are another gate receipt. Another opportunity to sell 100,000 tickets and parking and concessions and seat licenses and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, I don't think we change that unless if they could figure out the money. I mean, I grew up and there were 10 games, and then they went to 11, and then I think after 2002 they went to 12. They just kept adding games because it was another gate receipt. They figured out ways to make more money. That's why we have the SEC championship game. Conference championship games are worthless, especially now with no divisions. Like for 70 years, college football somehow managed to crown conference champions without a championship game. And now we're like, oh, I can't get rid of the championship game. Why not? That's a relatively new thing. And only the SEC one is actually one that's been a good game. But they won't do it because of the money they lose on the front end with the guaranteed gates from the home games. Cajun Country, come to the Tap Room in Lafayette. Y'all would have a rolling crowd. Hey, man, I had a great time at Tap Room when we did AFR there before Nate Bargatze show. That was a great spot. I hadn't been to Tap Room in a while, but Tap Room, River Ranch, great spot. Good food, great drinks, cocktails, beers, all that stuff. I'd gladly do that. I just don't know that we're going to make the drive to Lafayette every week to do scone and tea there. If we did, the price would have to be right. I'm not sure if Tap Room would be down for that, but I'd be down if the price was right. Cliff, if I want to weigh an Olympic athlete with their gold medal, where do I go? And can they calibrate my equipment? That was for those that don't know, that was the transition I used yesterday to talk after the Olympic update to talk about Michele weighing and measurement and their wonderful scales. Jeff, what up, my dude? Seth, who's one DB nobody's talking about you think will have a good season? I mean, I think Jordan Gilbert is key to the season. Because he's taken over the role Andre Sam played, and you were really bad there last year. And Gilbert's a guy that has been an SEC starter, is an SEC caliber safety. I mean, just physically, skill set makes you immediately better from what you had last year with Andre Sam. I'm not knocking Andre Sam. He played his butt off. He's a great team guy and all, but there's just physically wasn't at this level. Jordan Gilbert is. So that, I mean, I think we're talking a lot about Sage Ryan playing corner. I'm curious if Sage sticks at corner this year. You know, if Zy Alexander is healthy enough to play out there on an island and, you know, come back from it. Do they put Sage back at safety and Zy Alexander at corner? Maybe. Or maybe they stick with Stamps. And Stamps, by the way, is probably the answer. I think we're talking about him a lot. But Stamps is Stamps is the guy that looks like he's made a gigantic leap at corner. Like Stamps played last year as a freshman out of necessity. You know, we learned after the season that he played a lot of last year with a knee injury. But like he looks like your best cornerback right now. Like if I had to get, and again, I haven't seen every rep of every practice. There's times they run periods, I'm sure team periods we don't see. But from the good bit that I have seen, I would tell you Ashton Stamps looks like your best cornerback right now. So maybe that, I mean, but you know, you said, who are we not talking about? I feel like we're talking about the guys we should be talking about. Sage Ryan, Ashton Stamps, Jordan Gilbert, you know, Major Burns. I mean, I think it's interesting. You know, we're going to see Jordan Allen. You know, Jordan Allen right now is that's your answer. I mean, no, I don't think anybody's talking about Jordan Allen, but Jordan Allen and Jordan Gilbert are the two starting safeties every practice. It's Stamps and Sage Ryan at corner. It's Gilbert and Allen at safety. So maybe Jordan Allen, you're finally getting his chance now. Of course, Jordan Allen is from LCA. He's wearing number 6. You know, I think this is Jordan Allen's 3rd year, right? Is he a redshirt sophomore? I think this is his 3rd year. Jeez, pop-ups. Yeah, Yeah, he's a redshirt sophomore. So this is his third year, we're not saying much about Jordan Allen, but he's running first team out there, man. Maybe that's the answer. Damon, Nichols, and South Alabama are just bye weeks, but that's exactly the point. Like, nobody wants to see those games. Nobody wants to buy tickets for those games. If you gave season ticket holders the option, you said, hey, you can buy your entire season ticket package, but if you can omit Nichols and South Alabama, you don't have to buy those tickets. I mean, how many people are not buying those tickets? They buy them because they have to, because it's in the season ticket package. And it's more, and the more games you have, it's also more TV windows to sell to your TV partners. So it's like, those games are not on the schedule for literally any reason other than to make money. That's it. It's not about competitive balance, not about anything other than gate receipt, more TV windows. That's it. So you find a way to do away with those, to make more money on the playoff, TV schedule, whatever, and do away with those games, I'm 100% for it. But that's the only way they ever do it. Let's see. Looks like the only challenger in week 4 in the SEC will be Tennessee OU. But again, remember, it's not about you got to recalibrate how you think about the TV schedule, because it's not about which one is the best game now, like which one is CBS going to pick when they have their one night game. It's not. ESPN has them all now. They can put them wherever they want. It's not about which one's the best game. What does ESPN value? Like, they may have another game in another conference that they'd rather put in one of those windows. It's just you have to recalibrate what you think about it. It's not like go look at the league schedule and determine what's the best game that they'd put at 2:30. Like, that's not how it works anymore. Okay. Dale Broussard, Gio Pai is looking like he can hold his own at this level. Yeah, Gio's running first team, man. It's Gio and Jacoby and Guillory are your starters right now. They're taking all the reps at first team defensive tackle. I think they'll be the first two out there whenever you when you line it up against USC. And I'll tell you this too, man. I'm gonna dig deeper into this. But one of the reasons why maybe I'm becoming a little more bullish on this team is they're a veteran team, man. On both sides of the ball. Quarterback's a 4th-year guy. Your running back's a 6th-year guy. Your 2 tackles are juniors. They're the young pups. Your 2 guards are seniors. Your center's a sophomore. But, I mean, Lacey's a 5th-year guy. Hilton's a 4th-year guy. CJ Daniels is a 4th-year guy. Who's Daniels year 4, year 5? Yeah, this is Daniel's 5th year. I thought he was 4th. This is his 5th year. Paez is a 6th-year guy. Guillory is a 5th-year guy. Parish Shand is I told you I'm gonna dig deep into this. Parish Shand is a 5th-year guy. Swinson. Is this his 4th or 5th year? Swinson's a 5th-year guy. You see my point? Like, you got a lot of old dudes on this team, man. Like, I remember that Auburn team Cam's team in 2010. None of those offensive linemen, none of them played in the NFL. None of them. But every one of them was a senior. They had 5 starting senior offensive linemen. You had Cam, but also look at like LSU in 2011. There's another example. You didn't have Cam Newton at quarterback, but all of your offensive linemen were 4th or 5th year guys. T-Bob, Will Blackwell, PJ Lonergan, Greg Shaw. I mean, it was just this. Hurst was on that line. I mean, it was just a bunch of dudes that had played a ton of football. And this team kind of feels the same way, man. Stage Ryan's a senior. Jordan Gilbert's in his 4th year. You know what I mean? Like they're an old team. Anyway, I'm gonna dig deeper into that. I'm gonna do a segment on that on AFR. Probably put it on Locked On as well. Chance, how confident would you be if Adams had to do significant reps at tackle this season? Tyrie Adams. So I've talked a little bit about Tyrie Adams, who has looked really good as the number 2 left tackle. And I think that would be a big question, Chance. Like if something, knock on wood, if something did happen to Will Campbell again, nobody wants, but if would you kick Emory Jones over to left tackle or would you play Tyrie Adams? Tyrie's a sophomore, y'all. He looks good. Like he's looked good in the reps he's gotten. So, I think he's your starting left tackle next year when Will Campbell goes to the pro. I think Tyrie Adams is your starter next year. Barring something unforeseen, transfer portal or whatever, but I don't know, man. I hope we don't have to see him. I hope Jones and Campbell are healthy and play every snap all season. Mark, yeah, Chase Young had 3 sacks on Penning. We talked a little bit about that earlier, man. I just think probably what we're seeing is Trevor Penning is just not good enough to be an NFL tackle. Mark, South Alabama's a legit football program. Mark, nobody cares. That's your problem. I get it. You're a Southern Miss guy, South Alabama, but nobody cares at the major level. You can't take South Alabama and put South Alabama in the SEC and expect them to be competitive. It's a fact. You can be a legit football program at the level you play. I'm not disputing that, but there is not a soul walking the face of planet Earth that cares to see LSU be a 40-point favorite over South Alabama. Nobody wants to see it. Nobody wants to see that game. That's the point I'm making. I'm not saying South Alabama isn't a good program. Good for them. They've built up a nice thing there at the level they are. My point is, has always, will always be, go play your own league. The G5 should have its own league. G5 should not be playing Power 5. South Alabama in no reality will ever be the same as Alabama or Auburn. ULL, Tech, ULM will never be ever the same level as LSU ever in any reality. Florida International, Florida Atlantic, UCF, USF will never ever be at the same level as Florida and Florida State ever. It's just never going to happen. You're talking about a completely different reality. It's not to say they're not a good football program. They are just not at the level of the Power 4 schools. So nobody who there is not a soul, there's not a single LSU fan, not one, there's not a single one, 0, who's thinking, I just can't wait for the South Alabama Jags to come to Tiger Stadium. Boy, that's the one I want to see. You know what they want to see? They want to see Bama come here. They want to see UCLA come here. They want to see the Ole Miss game when both teams hopefully are undefeated. You want to see Oklahoma come here for the first time. That's what people want to see. This is the last year of the super senior, right? Well, Cliff, we keep saying that, but not exactly, because you'll have examples of guys that can get a 7th year if they have the COVID year, a redshirt year, then maybe an injury year. So, for example, all the guys, there's a guy this year who's a defensive lineman who transferred to Texas, I think from Arizona or Arizona State, who's in his 7th year. I can't find his name. Anyway, there's a guy at Texas this year who's in his 7th year. So to the point you're asking, if you were a freshman in 20, with the COVID year, which is a free year. So basically 21 became your freshman year. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would only be 4 if you had a redshirt year. So next year would be that fifth redshirt year, right? So if you were a freshman in 20, you could have redshirted in 21 and then had your 4 years of 22, 3, 4, 5. So 25 would be the last of those, but you could still have guys that have a 7th year. So we're still lingering with COVID guys. Let's see. Or in front of oh God. Let's see. Where are we? Rex, good morning. Kevin, what's good, man? Any word on Jonah Williams? No, asked Shay about him earlier this week too. That's one it's a highly regarded prospect that's keeping his recruitment close to the vest. So nobody really seems to know. A lot of times the recruiting guys know. Sometimes players will tell a coach to quietly commit, but they want their moment, or a lot of times where a guy's leaning. With Jonah, apparently it's been really close to the vest. My contention has been, if he does truly intend to play baseball and football, the stability at LSU with Brian Kelly and Jay Johnson, as opposed to A&M that has a new football coach and a new baseball coach. So they're kind of, both of those coaches are starting anew in their recruitment of Jonah Williams, whereas Kelly and Jay Johnson have been recruiting Jonah Williams. And then you have baseball, which won a national championship a year ago, football, which has won championships and is a perennial contender, unlike A&M. I think the only thing that A&M would have going for it, well, two things. One, ball, where Jonah Williams plays high school, has been sort of a feeder for A&M. So that's one, is an in-state deal. And then two would be NIL. What if A&M ponies up some just massive NIL deal that LSU can't compete with? That could be it. Mark, they're going to let one of the group of 5 teams in the 12-team football playoff. Yes, a G5 gets an auto bid, which I think is fun. You won't agree with this, Mark, but I think it's fundamentally absurd. Why you're just gifting a lesser team in a lesser conference one of the 12 playoff spots. I mean, you mean to tell me if LSU goes 10-2 this year, but loses, let's say, to Ole Miss and Alabama, and they're number 12 in the country, you're going to let Boise State in because they went 11-1 or 12-0 against a Mountain West schedule? Give me a break. What would LSU's record have been if they had that Mountain West schedule? How many teams in the power leagues could play Liberty or Boise State or Fresno State's schedule, UTSA's schedule, and go undefeated against it? 30? 40? That's the point. Kevin, having lunch with Russell Shepard Wednesday, pretty fired up. What a little name drop there. Kev, tell Shep I said hello, man. I haven't talked to Russell in a while, but great dude, man. He's a great Tiger who came to LSU as a highly regarded dude and tried to play quarterback, bounced around, played receiver, played running back, and despite never really finding a home in that LSU offense, went to the NFL and played, 8, 9 NFL seasons? How long did Russell Shepard play in the NFL? Russell Shepard, I mean, it goes to show you what an absolute freak of nature that guy was. UDFA with Philly in 2013, went to the Bucks. Led the team in special teams tackles in 14, special teams captain in 15, back in with the Bucks in 16, signed a 3-year contract with the Panthers in 17, but was released in 18, was picked up by the Giants, played 2018, then IR in 2019, and then retired. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 7 seasons, 7 NFL seasons. And I wonder, had he not been injured and placed on IR, would he continue to play? But 7, and despite never having, how hard it is to make an NFL team? And that dude played 7 NFL seasons, despite never really having a a set position at LSU where where you could say, all right, for 4 years you are committing to being the best wide receiver you can be. He played quarterback, he played wide receiver, he played running back, he returned punts, like he was all over the place, you know. But it goes to show you, once they focused on, hey, this is your role, how awesome he was. And it also goes to show you, like what if that's my thought of a guy like Tim Tebow. Like, what if Tebow had the humility to say, you know what, I know I'm not going to be a quarterback in the NFL, but what if I was Taysom Hill? What if you were look at the career Taysom Hill has carved out. Tim Tebow could have 100% been Taysom Hill. Catch a ball, block a punt, quarterback, a single wing formation. Like, Tim Tebow could have done that if he had the humility to say, I know I'm not a quarterback in this league, but I want to be in the league. He could have done that. Could have got massive contract, made a ton of money. Look, I'm sure Tim Tebow's doing fine with endorsement deals and TV and everything that he's doing, speaking, whatever. He'll be fine. But if he wanted an NFL career, he could have had it if he had the humility of guys like Shepard and Taysom, All right. Francais against Team USC this weekend for gold. I'll probably watch that game. Actually, I won't. That's Sunday, isn't it? I won't watch it. I'll be with Gramps in New Orleans. I'm looking forward to that, man. Have a great day. My Gramps will be 92 in October, man. He lives here with my parents. I get to see him all the time. I usually take Drew over there like at least one night a week, and we just visit, and love to get to do that. And so me, my brother, and my cousins Steven and Mark are going to take Gramps down in New Orleans on Sunday. We're going to have lunch at Arno's, then go to the Sazerac house. So Gramps lived his whole life in New Orleans. So I asked him not long ago, I was like, hey, man, you miss going to some of those restaurants? Like, where would you want to go if you can go to one? He said, didn't even miss a beat. He goes, Arno's. I was like, all right, we're going to go, man. So booked a reservation several weeks back. And so we're going to take him down there and have a day. Looking forward to it, man. So that's why I won't watch the gold medal game. I won't see the gold medal game. Chance, we need to get Charles Alexander working on Jonah. Same high school, I think. Probably the last time we got a player from there. Well, here you go. Kevin Toller to Charles Alexander. Erica. Now, Charles, Alexander the Great, running back Charles Alexander, defensive lineman. No, defensive lineman Charles Alexander is from Louisiana. Charles, so then Ball is not in Houston proper. Hang on. Why am I blanking? He's from he's born in Galveston, but it's not what I'm thinking of. Anyway, I don't know. Charles is a great dude, man. I got to know Charles really well about a decade ago, man, when he was elected to the College Football Hall of Fame. He had a Cajun seasoning product. He still does. Come on, man, Cajun seasoning. And I helped him get a lot of promotion for it. And we became good friends, man. And we talk from time to time, text when he's in town, but I haven't seen him in a while. But really good dude. Alexander the Great, man. Great one. Let's see. Oh, wow. Man, yeah, y'all are all saying Alexander Galveston. So it says born in Galveston. That's not what I'm thinking of, man. It's a suburb of Houston. What am I thinking of? Doggone it. Missouri City. That's it. Missouri City. Thank you, Kevin. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Missouri City. Thank you. That's it. That's what I was thinking of. Missouri City. Bingo. Thank you. Okay. Let's wrap this thing up. Mark, when will Coach O leave retirement, coach football again? Probably won't. I mean, he made a big pile of money. As I understand, he's back and forth between As I understand, he's back and forth between Baton Rouge, his house in Baton Rouge, and Miami. I think he bought a house or condo maybe in Miami. I think y'all saw the news several weeks back that he's he and his second wife are now divorced. Yeah, I don't listen, man. Mark, I haven't spoken to Coach O. I don't think he wants to talk to me, and that's totally fine. I mean, I have nothing against the man. Wish him nothing but success. Just what I get is like I don't think he necessarily has the desire to go coach again. Maybe be a consultant or do D-line camps or stuff like that. I don't know, man. Okay. I think we're done. Thanks for being there, y'all. As always, shout out to all of our sponsors here. BROC, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. I wonder what'll happen if I do this. The sponsors. Remember I would do this, the top. It's going to go up there in that top corner. Okay. I wish you could get that to go like right here still, but it goes way up in that corner. Oh, well. So we got all the sponsors here now listed. So BROC, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, PARISH, construction and roofing, parishbuilt.com, Unique Physique, uniquephysique.com. Remember semaglutide, tirzepatide, once a week injections for weight loss. You can do the whole process over telemed, and they'll ship your medicine anywhere in the country. So even outside of Baton Rouge, give them a call over at Unique Physique, and Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. If you got pain, book a session with Crystal Poche. She'll get you out of it. Restoredmotions.com. All of the sponsor links are in the show description on YouTube, and I'll get them linked all on Facebook as well. Thanks for being there, y'all. Locked on LSU is already live, so check out Locked on LSU podcast or YouTube and AFR3. We'll see you. Peace. Y'all have a great Friday.